It's interesting because my whole journey into whether it's modeling or beauty pageants was definitely accidental, like I think they are for so many people in maybe other industries. Uh, I was always an academic student. I loved studying. Even today I see myself much more as an intellectual and somebody who's an academic more than anything else. But when I was in actually, this is when I was working, yeah, as a banker, that someone saw my profile or my photo somewhere, and they thought, wow, you should compete in this beauty pageant that we are hosting. We need role models like yourself to talk about social issues, environmental concerns, and you could be a great ambassador. Use it as a platform. So I was really not that interested in competing in some beauty pageant, but I think the lady was trying to tell me that I could bring something to the table, and she actually insisted that I joined. So I did. I joined. I competed, and there, I collaborated with Water Africa, and I got quite close to them, and I did some other work with them in the future. And that sort of, it was a nice experience. But I realized, I'm kind of, this is not who I am. I mean, for a lot of these girls, winning a title is the most precious achievement for them. And for me, it's probably not even on my list of top 10 things I want to do in my life. So I didn't think much of it. However, the platform that was given to me was enormous. I got a lot of media coverage. I was on all the newspapers, TV shows, and people came to know about me, and then they invited me to compete in others, and then I won a bunch, and so on and so forth. And then I got um, into modeling and brand endorsements and all of that stuff. And then my acting, Bollywood and Hollywood career came a little bit after that as well. So these things sort of happen very organically for me. But I think beauty is definitely number one. It's in the eye of the beholder. I think as someone who's traveled a lot, beauty means different things to different people. That's one thing. But then I think beyond anything, real beauty is how you are as a person on the inside, and how you make people feel around you. Because people will never forget that. They may, for a lot of, women in the fashion and film industry, don't focus on, and they don't cultivate. They're only focused on the outside, thinking that it's going to be everything, but most often they're left wanting, in the real beauty department. And obviously things unfold, and that it kind of these things become self-evident. But I think because I was grounded and I had my feet firmly on the ground, I didn't get disillusioned, or I didn't go into the maya of the beauty industry. I just realized it's a gift, it's a role that I can play, and I'm going to use it to do something better for the world and something bigger than myself. It's a fantastic question. I am very lucky because I was, a spiritual and an intellectual person before I ever got into this sort of world. And my whole purpose of being there was different anyway. And I knew who I was. I know who I am now. So it's okay for me, but for the vast majority, I think, of girls in India and around the world, they dream of winning pageants. They dream of being a model. I think they just want to be seen, to be noticed, to be recognized. They want self-worth and self-value. And sadly, advertising, the media, society has told us that your worth and your value comes from how good you look, but or how noticed you get, or how much acknowledgement of beauty do you sort of manifest for yourself. And the more eyeballs you're getting and the more acknowledgement you're getting from the world around you, you must be a worthy person, worthy of love, worthy of happiness, and so on. But obviously we know that life doesn't work like that. If it did, then all these beauty queens would not be so upset. Many of them are depressed. Some have been driven to suicide. A lot of them have issues with eating disorders, bulimia and anorexia, and so on. That's a huge issue that people don't want to talk about. It happens everywhere around the world. So yeah, the Maya, of course, is the illusion. So whether it's modeling or film industry, I think people just see the glamour of it and they want to be in that, and they want to be somebody who gets noticed and so on. And it's very seductive. Even for me, I'm grounded. I know I can tell right from wrong. I know it's all smoke and mirrors, but I've lived in Hollywood for 10 years. I've been worked in Bollywood, Hollywood, many other countries as well. And although I don't get seduced by all of this, I see it, and I think for young girls, the only encouragement I would give is know who you are. Try to make sure you focus on your education or other skills. This is not a career path or a career plan for anyone. It's just something that comes along your way. It doesn't define you. Trust me, it's not what it's cracked up to be. And I think post COVID, there is no fashion industry, and even the Hollywood industry is hit. I think especially India is somehow very fixated with Bollywood and media, and they're getting sucked into what is going on. They put up these people on pedestals, and they are not real role models for anyone, to be honest. So I think the world is a different place now, where I don't think fashion, beauty, and entertainment is as valued maybe as it was probably even a year ago. And I see this as a big positive. I think it's uh, uh, due time that this industry was given a good shakeup. Firstly, my real role models obviously are both my parents. I'm very lucky. I'm uh, how do I put it? I'm honored and privileged to have been born into a family and two parents who are selfless, spiritual people, and they're deeply immersed in our Vedic philosophy, our Sanatan Dharma. My entire both sides of the family are like that. They are spiritual as well as very much entrenched in tradition. So that was great. And at the same time, they are very forward thinking and open, but very spiritual, but very modern in a way, because I was allowed, I think, a lot of liberties in my childhood. Like I could pick any career, I could do what I wished, I've traveled by myself, I've lived on my own, I've been extremely independent in my entire life from a very young age. And both my parents trusted me that I would be sensible to make the right choices. So my parents are my role models. My father had a incredible, I think, influence on me, and he was really the extremely spiritual person. So I grew up watching him wake up at 4 a.m. to do Surya Namaskara, yoga, and he used to read this all the shastras and all of that, and I sort of was inspired by him, but also my mother as well in other ways. Our deities are also the best role models too, because we can look at their life and the choices that they've made, whether it's the gods or the goddesses, both of them. So I see them, I think, as people who influenced me. And then in the greater global sense, there's other Western great thinkers and philosophers as well that have had amazing things to say, that one can learn from. So I think my role models I've been very clear about who they are and the sort of values and morals that I look up to. So maybe that's what made all of this very easy for me. I think if I had different role models, I might have been more impressed with more hollow things, and I would have tried to emulate that. So very lucky, I think, in the way that I was brought up. This is the most unique thing and the most distinguishing feature of India and Sanatan Dharma, um, is this ability to be in complete harmony with oneself, with the divine, and with everything around us and the environment. I think it's the only framework that uh, does that, and it does it in a very organic, gentle way. I think in the West and in other civilizations, or civilizational frameworks, let's say, they look at everything as black and white. It's either this or that. You have to pick something and you have to discard something else. You cannot have both. But I think the dharmic way is that you can actually have both, because you have both aspects within you. You have the light and the dark within you. You have the male and the female, the Shiva Shakti. In the Chinese philosophy, it's the yin yang, uh, and that comes from this dharmic um, ethos, I think, of complete inclusiveness, pluralism, openness, all-encompassing, syncretic quality of life. Everything about Sanatana Dharma is it's omnipresent, it's omnia, it's omni everything, right? It's all, it's everything. That's a wonderful way to look at life. I mean, there's a flip side too. You have to be discerning at times, and you don't want to take in everything, not realizing that maybe something is not all that good for you, but that's a different matter. But when you assume that everything is pure, then you have everything within you. And specifically with, I think, the concept of Shakti is the divine feminine essence from a Indic perspective. Shakti doesn't exist without Shiva. Shiva doesn't exist without Shakti, I would say. Maybe Shakti can actually survive. She can probably do it on her own, to be honest. But she yet, even though she's the high goddess and the priestess, she wants the Shiva. I think that's the beautiful thing. It's in Sanatana Dharma, we don't encroach on the other's space or value or power. We don't have to take away from the God to prop ourselves up. We are already upheld, and his job is to uphold us. And once we are there, we don't discard anyone. We actually completely are in harmony. And I think that's a beautiful way to look at male-female relationships. And when you talk about this topic of feminism today in the world, there's a lot of issues there. And I think the missing link is this way of looking at the genders or the two energies.